Now, I'm no stranger to bear warnings in Japan, but warning aggressive bears in this area might be the first time I've seen. But we should be okay. We're gonna be walking through a beautiful post town today. Right now, we are near the area of Aizu Wakamatsu out in Fukushima. And this up here is Ouchi-juku. It's actually going to be my first time coming to Ouchi-juku. We have done other post towns on this channel and on the main Tokyo Lens channel. Ouchi-juku is going to be our first time to come in and experience. Now, there are 5 main, I guess, traditional older roads that run through Japan. And when I peeked in here a little earlier, it was so quiet. And now the crowds have started to pick up a little. But there are 5 major roads that kind of run through. And we've done sections, for example, of the Nakasendo previously, where it runs all the way out from, for example, the Kyoto area all the way to Tokyo. And we've done entire sections of that on our walks also. Guys making the best of the snow, making little ducks over there. Hi. So I got distracted by the little snow ducks. I was like, oh, I wanna do that. I think I have one of those things somewhere and I should have brought it along. But as we get in, you start to see a peek at the architecture that we are in for a treat here today. We've got the mountains here in the background. There's just something about having mountains in the background that just feels right to me. I love it. Okay, so when you get out to these snowier areas, you get these slanted roofs up like this, which is obviously to kind of reduce pileup of the snow. But there's little things like this. I can punch into 2 times on here, and you get this little section up here. So beautiful, so Japanese. I love it. And then we get into almost the main section of Ouchi-juku in here. And as we walk up, I kind of want to greet this little frog and rabbit statue we have here. We'll come in right through here. Now, usually when I do these walks, I will come out first thing in the morning at 4:30 or 5 a.m. and do the walks completely empty. But this one, I wanted to show that because of the area, because we're out in Fukushima, it's kind of peaceful and quiet and not super crowded. I know, just as I say peaceful and quiet, it did get noisy there for a second. But you've got all these little shops here, which typically we don't get to experience open because we tend to come really, really early in the morning. I'm just gonna get past the louder crowd there. That takes some effort there. You get the snow on the roofs here. Now I know for a lot of people, when they think Fukushima, their mind goes to, you know, the earthquake and the disaster back from 2011, the March 11th earthquake. But one of the things about Fukushima that people don't realize is it is a very wide and mountainous prefecture. So this section is almost closer to the Sea of Japan, the opposite side of Japan, than it was to where the disaster hit. And you get these massive snow piles here. And I'm just so distracted by groups. I usually, again, I come out and I do these really quiet because it just allows me to kind of walk through the area, enjoy it nice and peaceful and quiet. And look at all these here. You got the hanging icicles. In Japanese, these are called tsurara. And the ground here has gotten insanely slippery. These ones are huge. Like, whoa, we almost went down there. Can I even reach that one? Oh, it just breaks right off. Oh, I thought we might be able to grab one. But I can also completely see me biting the dust here because the ground is so wet and slippery. But again, one of the reasons I wanted to come out is to show that there are sections of Japan that are not hyper crowded with the tourist boom. There are sections that you can come out to that are beautiful and truly Japanese like this. And a lot of the post towns are like that. Now, one of the questions that I will often get is, what is a post town? Well, along these 5 major roads, there were always these different towns that people could use as kind of rest stops. Towns that would have places to sleep, would have food and drink available, and more often than not, a post office as well. Place to share and do mail. But the main thing being that these were little kind of rest stops along these kind of travelers' roads. And as we go here, there's water running down along here. And it's just peaceful and beautiful. And then we've got the little shops here like this. And of course, some of these shops will have, I can't get all that tsurara up there, the icicles, hanging icicles. And for some reason, these like touristy shops always have little like bokuto that you can grab. Don't know why, but they do. And also, one of the things I love about this area is just, if you stop and think, considering the difference in temperature and humidity, these buildings are built really well to be able to survive these conditions and then go into summers that turn into like 30, 40 degrees. Now, there is a viewpoint up there where we're going to be able to see the entire village from, and it is gorgeous. I've seen a ton of photos of it, but I am curious about this shrine here, Takakura Jinja. So we're gonna head down here. Now, one of the things that I love about Ouchi-juku is it doesn't matter what time of year you come, you've got a pretty good chance at being able to experience some form of festival in the area. There is a winter snow festival that's coming up just a little while after I'm here that I am just gonna be missing, unfortunately. And they do all the little statues, and they make lanterns out of snow. And right behind here, like, you can see fireworks behind the Tori gate, and it is such a beautiful treat. And even in the summer, they've got beautiful summer festivals, and it really gives you that countryside Japan peaceful feel. Even the front gate there. Oh, just kind of taking a moment to take in this area. You got the schoolhouse over here with the playground. As we go through here, so we've talked about the Nakasendo, which is one of those 5 roads. And the road that this one is on, I believe it's called the Shimosuke Kaido. And that connects down to the Nikko Kaido. And then from there on to things like the Nakasendo and beyond. But once we get back in, I want to show off a few things of the village that I think are really beautiful and interesting. Like, for example, how they have used spacing of the buildings despite everything being made of wood and all the old materials and the straw thatched roofing and all of that. they've managed to avoid any major fires for over 200 years, keeping a lot of this really original. And this is a trek out here to this shrine. It is really nice because if you take a look around, we're just surrounded by beautiful white snow. These, what are likely just rice fields. It feels quiet and peaceful. And again, because it's just slightly off that main path, we don't have crowds of tourists and everything coming out here, which is just really nice in its own way. It's, people think if you go to Japan lately, the crowds have been so out of control that you're not going to be able to go anywhere and enjoy the country. And it's a very serious concern for a lot of people. I see it popping up in the comments on this and the main channel all the time. But more often than not, all it takes is to get 1 or 2 streets or even a few steps out of the main tourist zone. Now, a lot of people will come and do the Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima loop, which each has their own value. And I think as a first ever trip in Japan, it's not a bad loop to do. But again, you likely, coming to Japan is addictive. And so more often than not, it's not just that first trip. People will come for a second, a third, a fourth. They'll save up for years if they have to. I know, I was one of them. And what happens is you end up wanting to explore much more outside of that loop, and you realize that that loop actually isn't really Japan. Each of them are kind of their own thing, and each of them have been heavily tailored towards tourists. This section gets really slippery, so I gotta try to use my Canadian walking style, full flat foot. Like, this is all ice down here. Oh, on the way back, I am most certainly gonna bite the dust. I might even just like sit down and butt slide my way down on the way back, because we're gonna bite it, almost guaranteed. But each one of those has kind of turned into key like tourist locations and has started to adjust for it as well. Like Kyoto has recently opted to increase the tourist tax based on like the size and price of your hotel. The tax you're going to pay is considerably going to be increased over the 1,000 yen tax that already existed. And a lot of these other areas have just really gone into the mode of what can we do to increase the income that we get from tourism, especially while the Japanese yen is struggling and overseas currency, like the American dollar, for example, is doing so well. And this has led to, for example, last year, I went out to Niseko, and like a 400 to 800 yen bottle of ramen. That was, none of those words were accurate. Bowl of udon is the sentence I was going for, but I saw the fire extinguisher, and for some reason, the word bottle got in my head. But like, 800 to 1,000 yen bowl of udon would be for sale like 4,000 yen, 3,500 yen. And people are just going in and, it's not that different from prices back home. In a lot of countries, to be able to get a meal for what would equate to, 700-800 yen, 4 or 5 American dollars is just insane. And so they will pay for it without batting an eye. But when you get outside of that tourist loop, there's a lot more areas that are just keen and curious to accept international travelers and visitors and share their culture. And right now, I'm actually just kind of taking a sidestep from a project that I'm doing out here in Fukushima. I'm actually brought out the Shamisen girls to play at a hotel, and I'm going to be going skiing for the very first time in Japan ever. But I've taken a little bit of a break out from that to do this walk for us. And they want to kind of share and show some of the benefits of the area. And it says, watch your step. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm wondering if I can just slide down the, oh yeah, that is it. We're just sliding down. That's it. I'm just going to curl up into a ball and hope we don't fall down. That worked. Hands a little cold, but it definitely is safer than those completely ice-covered stairs. Even this is kind of hard to keep my balance. Oh, and running forward. Oh, wow. I knew it was going to be a challenge coming in, but it's also kind of fun. This main set of stairs here is going to be the steep one. We passed a gentleman on our way up, and he slipped almost immediately after. So this is not a game that I want to play, especially considering not a ton of people are coming through here. So it might be a little bit before anybody finds my damaged and writhing body just laying in the snow. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was very slidey. We just slipped right down that. Whew. Hands are cold. And it's this one. This one's the risky one. Even right here, it's just slippery. I'm gonna go in the water for sure. Oh, this is not safe in the least. I feel like my best bet is actually try and aim here. There we go. And then just take this non-beaten path. There we go. And then the rest of it's just kind of a Canadian side slide as we go down. It works. Whew. Sometimes being raised with snow sense has its advantages. B-E-A, beautiful. Now let's get back into Ouchi-juku. That was, well, it's not too inaccurate. Ouchi-juku. And make our way up to the viewpoint. Now, a lot of these that I put out, as I put them out, I kind of feel like I'm like talking to you. Hopefully you get a sense of that in your experience. But I will often premiere a lot of these so I can watch them along with the audience and we can all kind of chat and hang out. But I often don't have a chance to catch every single comment that comes through there. And so definitely I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this in the comment section, especially the whole traveling the less traveled, non-beaten path, if you will, getting out to lesser known areas and experiencing Japan. Like I have like a good number of fairly regular viewers who I connect with on almost a yearly or sometimes like bi-yearly, as in not once every 2 years but twice a year basis, who come out and they originally did the kind of touristy trail but have recently started working through the Tokyo Lens recommended spots list, the ones that I would do, for example, on our 1 million adventure, or like even just that video alone, the 1 million adventure across Japan on the main channel, and all of the live streams we did with that, all of those are fantastic. And spaces like this, there are buses and whatnot that come out to them. But one of the things that a lot of places struggle from, especially beautiful areas like Fukushima or as far out as Shikoku or anything like that, is that it can be a little more challenging than just taking a Shinkansen to get out to wherever you want to go. But for example, Aizu Wakamatsu, there is a bus that you can take from Tokyo. I believe from Shinjuku for something like 3,000 yen at the time of recording this. That is dirt cheap to be able to come out and experience the area of Aizu Wakamatsu. So there are options. It's not always going to be along the JR pass or along your regular kind of Shinkansen tourist route, but it is worth in every single way putting in that little bit of extra effort to get off that regular route and check out some of the more hard to find places. So yeah, we're coming right back to the entrance of the shrine gate here. And when we get in here, there's a few things I want to show you. Like if you look, you can see here just how thick the thatch roof is. And there's so many icicles hanging from it. But despite the roofs being made like that, and despite how much wood is here, you'll notice that it's all in beautiful condition. And one of the big reasons for that is, again, there has not been any major fires in this area in over 200 years, which means a lot of these are still the original like properties, buildings, tatemono. And more amazing, I guess before we get to the more amazing, a large part of the reason behind that is if you notice, unlike areas like Tokyo and Osaka, they've actually kept a fairly decent amount of space in between each of the buildings here. So there's a fairly decent gap there in between the buildings, which means that should there be a bit of a fire, it's a lot less likely to jump and spread. But one of the much more interesting things to me about this area is Ouchi-juku has a very special charter. You see, the charter of Ouchi-juku is very simple. To the owners of this building, to the people who live here, it is do not sell, do not rent, do not demolish. That's it. That's the charter. Don't sell, don't rent, don't demolish. And along with that, you get all of these old buildings, all of the original owners, or I guess older owners, in the shape that they've been for hundreds of years, well preserved, well taken care of, nothing torn down, nothing strange kind of built out of place. And it's just an absolute treat. Then you get little shops like this one here. Let's actually kind of take a peek here. Lots of handmade goods at this one. Oh. Konnichiwa. No. Even these daikon here, incredible. 7,200 yen. Love it so much. And they made a bit of an igloo here, which in Japan you call a kamakura. Let's come around. See the other side here. It's got like a little window in the side and everything. You got little ones hanging out and playing inside right now. But the viewpoint is up this way. So let's head up here and check that out. It has been unseasonably warm lately. So as you can see, a lot of this has just kind of started to melt away. This is the kind of place that's beautiful in the summer and the spring with all the green. It's just as beautiful in the winter with all the snow. But you can see just dripping away here as it all kind of melts. I believe we want to go up this way here. I also like how a lot of these post towns and whatnot. Ooh, also check this out. We break in the crowds. There's like a crowd down here, but things got a little bit quieter for us, which is really nice. Also, a building up here, which it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to go check out because the very unevenly built stairs are dangerous in the snow. Understandable. So we're gonna come up this way. You'll see the little huts as well, so people can keep their cars covered in the snow. For this project, I'm gonna be hitting a bunch of different areas, a bunch of different places in this area. There we go. And I'm gonna be trying to toss together some short form content and long form content, definitely at least something else for this channel here, because when I pick up the shamisen players tonight, we're gonna go out to a hotel called Okawaso that, well, visually is a striking resemblance to the Infinity Castle from Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. And I'm going to have them play shamisen on a little stage, should everything go smoothly. That's always the plan, right? For everything to go smoothly, but hiccups and stuff do happen along the way. Ah, okay. So that stairway would have brought us right up to here and would have just been absolutely impossible to navigate. And you start to get like a little peek out there, but what we're aiming for is right up here. But even this, I absolutely love this so much. But a lot of people don't know that I actually have an entire channel just for the shamisen music, for the shamisen players, for all the little travels that we do. It's called Shamisen in Tokyo. So if you want to check that one out, if you're watching this in the premiere, chances are we'll be able to drop it in there for you. But there is Ouchi-juku from up above. And I can't believe I got this space empty and clear. It just feels like this would be a spot that would be. And there's a gorgeous shot of the post town itself. Oh, what a beautiful space. I find myself being curious as to what's further up the hill. What are we gonna find up here? Where does it stop? Now, a while back, I guess quite recently, did a night walk video on the Explorer channel, which I never thought was going to be possible because usually I've got to use my A7S III by Sony in order to do night walk videos because nothing else can really handle the low light. But I used the same camera that I'm using right here, the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, which, while not perfect, is by far the best low light action camera I have ever seen in my entire life. It blows everything else out of the water. Like, I even put some comparisons in there. It's like another leading action cam brand and my phone and everything. And I wanted to kind of show what it looks like in the daytime as well as we walk through. I use this for quite a few of our walking videos, and it looks like everything ends right here. It says it's dangerous, you cannot continue beyond here, and has a rope. And it's understandable because that is a slide that would lead you to go straight off the mountain. That is not, I don't even like being close to it. We're gonna come back this way. And so this, how many post towns have we managed to do so far? We've definitely done, we got Ouchi-juku, Narai-juku, Tsumago-juku. We've done, what was it? Arai or I can't remember. We did another one here on the Explore channel at the end of the 1 million adventure, and the name is escaping. We've done a good 4 or 5 post towns throughout Japan now, and it's kind of become a little theme. How many of the post towns can we hit? I feel like I'm doing a post town pilgrimage, not too dissimilar to the Shikoku pilgrimage, which I get a lot of questions if I'm ever going to do that. Chances are no. If I ever get guaranteed perfect weather for a long time and want to torture myself, I might consider it. But otherwise, I wanted to share this with you guys today. I hope that you have enjoyed this walk as much as I have, and that you've learned a thing or two from it. It's been an absolute blast, and I'll see you again real soon.